Thank you so much for coming. My name's Suzanne Lindberg, and I'm working with a great team, our Build team here, to bring these into house, and we hope you enjoy them, certainly. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us. We have an exciting guest today, Jason Momoa, for you Game of Thrones fans, played Khal Drogo. And now he's going to talk with us, with our very own David Shing, about his new movie, Road to Paloma, which he wrote, directed, stars in, produced, passion project. Excited to bring them to stage, David Shing and Jason Momoa.
Who wants Jason?
Wrong place, right?
Who wants Jason to do the interview without his shirt on? Just me? Take a seat, mate.
Thanks for showing up.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yay. Right.
You feel far away now.
I do.
You were very close for a second.
I was very close. Hang on one second. Let me just see if I can prop that up better. Let's start this again. Hello, guys. Welcome to AOL Build. Jason, how have you been treated so far? All good?
Fantastic. Yeah,
great. Did you spend some time over there in HuffPost Live?
I did. It was great.
Awesome. You're not native to New York. You're obviously based in LA or somewhere lush.
Yeah, based in Los Angeles right now, but I love coming out here. So,
who wants to hear Jason's official bio? Can I just get straight into questions? Are you guys cool if I just leap straight in? He doesn't need an introduction, does he? Okay, but here's what I don't want to talk about so much. I don't want to talk about so much what he's done. I want to talk about where he's headed and what he's about to do. Is that cool with you, Holmes?
Anything you want.
All right,
Anything you want.
First thing I want to... Is there any show that you've done where you haven't taken your shirt off? Is the first question I wanted to ask.
No. No. I'm not a big fan of clothes, you know?
I can see that.
I'm Hawaiian, you know what I mean?
How fabulous is this guy? Okay, here's the first question I wanted to have was something that I thought about earlier today. Drogo. So there's a little show, if you had just landed from Mars, there's a show called Game of Thrones, which has really taken over the hearts and minds of everybody. But what's incredible about that particular show was your audition. I'd heard that you actually did the Maori haka. Yeah. Is that true?
Yeah, I did. It was... I think it was much called for, because when I was reading the sides, if you were to be auditioning for Drogo, what they do is they send you this scene that says, like, no. No. And then you have to, like, no. Pull some more off, and you're saying no 6 times. I mean, I need some help here. So, and then they send you, they photocopy the book, and they send you a little bit of information about this. And I'm like, listen, I just want to work for HBO. I got to see what this Game of Thrones thing's about. So I crash read all of Dany's stuff, and literally, like, my wife needs help with the kids. I'm like, honey, I can't help right now. And I'm just like, I lock myself in the room and read it and fall in love with it. And the one thing I came away from it was going, man, I really want to see this guy just go into battle, man. I want to see what he's made of. And, like, just being from Warriors and knowing the haka. And I was like, and then I talked to my buddy, Irish, or Michael Raymond James, he's a fantastic actor. He actually told me, he's like, you should do the haka in there. And I was like, is that gonna be all right? I mean, because, and like, they're just little cute white little women as casting directors, and you're just kind of like, you know, you don't really need to be doing this against these people. So but I was like, I really think I would like to try this as the piece. This is what he would be like if he went into battle. And they're like, oh yeah, go ahead, it'd be great. And then I'm literally like, bring me up, hockey! And I'm just like stomping, and they're like,
wow.
And I'm like, just start going off.
Straight into method.
Yeah, and when you go off, and like, you don't really test this shit out either. And like, you just your soul opens up, and all your ancestors come in, and you're ready to kill everything. So it's not a good scene to do before a love scene. You know what I mean? So they saw that, and I think David and Dan really liked it. And the one that you see on the internet is like the one I came back in to do for them. But yeah, it's one of those things that I just felt like I drove. You know, it's a foreign language, and they didn't make that language yet. And I just thought it would be like him commanding his troops.
And how difficult was it to learn the actual language in the TV series?
Yeah, it's tough. You know, I mean, I'm not. It's one of the things I'm ashamed of, but I don't speak too many languages. Something hopefully I'll change. But I learned that it was challenging. Lots of beer, lots of sitting in a room drinking beer and talking to yourself. That's what it consisted of.
That's amazing. I think everybody here is huge fans of Game of Thrones, and it's obviously given you a platform to do things that are different. I also read that you studied as a Buddhist in terms of their principles. How and a lot of the characters you play are very fierce. How do you balance between that and?
I wouldn't say that I follow Buddhism. I just, when I spent a long time after the show that starts with the B. It was like my first show I did. I choose not to talk about that much, but it gave me the passion to act, and then it just did truly express who I was. Like, I was on the show called Baywatch, and I spent a lot of time drinking to forget about that. But it was still, I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with acting, and I love the people and stuff like that. But it was very hard to get a job, and I grew up in Iowa. I was very educated and well educated, and was in college, and it just, people looked at me a different way, and they had me pegged as something that I wasn't, and so that made me just, I kind of took all the money that I had, and I grew up rock climbing, so I just traveled around the world searching and building. I think the greatest thing to do as an artist is just to travel and to meet people and be around artists and soak up all those experiences, and you bring them back, and then those are your bricks, and you build your foundation, and those are the things that you can go back and you have that experience. So I spent a good 5 years traveling the world, from Tibet to France to Italy and Japan, and searching. I went from the Podala Palace to the Vatican, and there's not too much difference in what they're worshiping. And like the money that's going, it's just more money. And so you find whatever helps you get by, but I mean, definitely at that age of like 20, 22, 23, 24, you're just searching, man.
Yeah, man.
Even 19, you're just searching, and like, you're a sponge, and that's one thing I don't want to stop doing, but I mean, like, you get a little jaded, and you're like, I know what that's about, fuck that shit, you know what I mean? Like, but now, like, you want to be constantly, I like being like a kid, and learning, and having that, craving those, when you're younger. So I wouldn't say I follow that or subscribe to one religion, but I definitely am. And as an actor, what the great thing, or filmmaker, is we study life, and that was like the greatest gift. And so going out and studying life. And
your parents are also, they have an arts background, is that correct?
Yeah.
And you're a trained painter as well? Pastels?
Yeah, no, not so much pastels anymore, but paint and
awesome.
found objects and stuff like that. I had 2 shows. I would love to do another one, but I'm one of those guys that are not great at one thing, but can do a lot in the arts, from music to painting to, obviously making films to acting and stuff like that, and writing. But I'd love the arts. I constantly have to be creating things, clothes, things like that. I'm just very creative like that. Both parents were just like that, so.
Awesome. Quite the Renaissance man. Love that about you. You're quite the Renaissance man.
The Renaissance. Yeah.
Sorry, language barrier, mate.
Back in the day, he's a Renaissance man. Thank you.
So one of the things you're here today to talk about, so what we do for Build is we bring in great thought leaders, people like yourselves, to talk about projects they're up to. I'm only going to ask a couple more questions before I throw out to these smarty pantsers to give them the floor. But you're here to talk about a film that you're about to launch, The Road to Paloma. I'd actually like to show the trailer, if you don't mind. Could we do that?
You ever hear of a guy's name who's Robert Wolf?
Who's asking?
A couple of suits said they were federal agents. When's the last time you saw old Robert Wolf?
You got something you want to tell me? Just be straight with me, man. That's all I'm asking. You know something, Wolf? No, I did not see anything.
Show me where she is. I told you what would happen. I couldn't let him walk free.
The thing that's amazing about that is this is your first director debut experience, is that correct?
Yeah, this is it. You guys are here. This is the first time I've ever done anything direct. I mean, I did a couple shorts, but this is my third interview.
Congratulations,
as doing promotion for directing. So
here's the thing that I just want to talk about. The very beginning of that first 3 minutes, you won't see that at the film, which opens July 11th. So that was a gift that Jason brought in for you guys as an exclusive piece that actually only appears in the DVD, is that correct?
yeah, what it is that throughout the whole piece, I didn't want to make a chase movie or a murder movie, and I didn't want to see it. It unfolds. It's all about the repercussions of what he's done. Because I'll tell what the story is about.
Please do.
The story is when we wrote the story in 2011, about 86% of the rapes or the violence, it started with the rapes, 86% of the rapes that were happening on the Native American reservations were non-native. So it's white men. And tribal law can't prosecute anyone that's not native. It has to go to federal court. And so predominantly most of those cases get thrown out. And it made me sick when my co-star and co-writer, Robert, he brought that to my attention, and we wanted to make this story to shed light on it because I'm a father, I'm a son, grandson, I'm a husband. If anyone messed with women in my life and then the law didn't take care of it, what would I do? And that's just universal. I mean, you're going to protect your tribe, you're going to protect your family. It's your mother, you know what I mean, or your wife. And with that, you're going to lose your life. You're going to go to prison, or you're going to be on the run. So my character took it in his own hands. And that opening scene is him napping this knife out of rock. And he's riding out of his reservation to go to this man's house. And he just shadow games, and he pulls up, and obviously the bike runs out of gas. He comes outside, and then he's inside, and he's painted up. And you hear in the movie that he scalps him, and then he breaks every bone in his body. He literally clubs him to death. The Mojaves were known as clubbers, but we don't show it, we just hear it. And I wanted to put that in. It was, we shot it, but it left more not seeing it. And so we took it out. And I wanted to just be able to show people that, this little piece with no dialogue, hopefully it entices you. And then our trailer that we wanted to make is truly about at the end of our days, here's a great man, we're all good people, but if our hand is forced or twisted, what do? Or am I defined by that? Am I punished for that? Yes, you are. And then what hangs in the air when you're gone is all the people that have inspired us and who inspire us. They make us up. I mean, that's the people that we live by and who we want to be like. And so I feel like how hard you love and how big you love and what mark you leave in this world is going to inspire others. And then that's like what you do in this world. So that's kind of why I wanted to make something that wasn't. It's still very rock and roll. Like if you saw the other trailer, it's like, whoa, hair, rock and roll, tits and ass, all right. I mean, it's still like, it's like, WWE's involved. So like, there's definitely a hardcore trailer out there, and it has that. But I didn't want to just make it about that. It's something that's deeper, and I wanted to make a story about a man saying goodbye to his life. So it's the repercussions of that, and yeah.
Congratulations, man. It looks like an amazing piece of work. What's also interesting is that you obviously were doing this and writing this, co-writing this, planning this, filming this, all while you're doing, I assume, Conan, and you were doing Game of Thrones.
It's funny, actually. Me and Robert were, I was doing Game of Thrones.
Really?
Yeah, man. I was in Belfast, like stuck in some snowstorm or some shit, and we're like emailing back to each other. I'm like, oh no, this scene would be great, or this scene. And so, and I sent it to Dave, and Dave and Dan read it, and they helped me through a lot of it. So, yeah, conception was in Game of Thrones.
And also, you did it on a limited budget, which is a great inspiration for us. I read that you actually produced this film end-to-end at about $600K. How's it possible, man?
Well, it was a little... it was when Robert, myself, and we have another writer, Johnny Hirschbein, who helped us, and we were basically... I took that, and Brian... The guy who shot this movie is the guy that looks like Waldo with these stripes on right there.
He doesn't even know he's
looking at
talking
his phone. There he is, motherfucker. That guy right there, if you love shooting and you're a DP, you need to go talk to him right now. He literally hung out of trucks. He shot the whole thing on a Canon 5D. He pulled his own focus. He held camera. It was all handheld.
Wow.
And, we wanted to test, we come from skateboarding and snowboarding backgrounds, and obviously chasing my kids around with the camera, and that really helped him. But this guy can pull a focus on... That's how we practiced, and it's great because that guy shooting me right there, that camera was shot on that. The whole fucking movie was shot on that 5D, and it's at your fingertips, and it's just about story. All you need is story, because you get story, you get actors. You get actors, you get money. You get money, you make your fucking movie.
Yeah.
And if you can do it if you can get a tribe of people together, and slowly, obviously you have to. You're gonna have hiccups along the road, and it takes a while, and you got to test your, you got to put some paint to the canvas, and you're gonna fuck up, but you're gonna find your way through it. But technology's at our fingertips, and that's the other thing we wanted to do. We don't need much money. I work on big shows, I work on small shows, I work on like this is literally 7 people made this movie. We lived in the dirt and we did it. Like it's 7 people, and there's really like 4 or 5 that really were like the central pieces in it that made it. So.
What also I find intriguing about that is that, it launches July 11th, and 4 days later, you're actually putting it on video on demand.
Yeah, I think, because it's an independent film. We're really happy it's going to be in theaters, and I'm really stoked that it is. Normally it would just go to iTunes, and it is, but it's really blessed that it's going to be out here and it's going to be in LA. But, and that's the other thing too I wanted to say. When we made this, there's so many different ways to make films. There's a billion different ways making independent films, but what we did is I took my money, and I went out and I shot a lookbook or just pieces from the movie, from the script, and you just spoon feed these people. You're like, this is what it looks like, and this is how, you have to literally, I wanted them to see it, and like, wow, this looks amazing. I'm like, yeah, that just costs beer and gas. I drive out there and shoot this and drink some beer and drive home. Wait till, obviously, sober. But it's, we took that in, and I was like, it would take us $250 to shoot this and get it in the can. They're like, we'll give you $100,000. Boss Media, Frank Mancuso, and Eric Goras literally saved my ass. Sarah Shaw, who plays my sister in it, we met on Bullet to the Head, and she introduced me to these people. So it's all about the people and and that it's helpful. You're gonna have all kinds of friends that go over. They're gonna be in all the right places, and just be cool. Don't be. It'll happen when it happens. But they got us. They gave me $100,000. They go, if we don't like it, you shoot half the movie, you edit it. If we don't like it, you owe me $100,000 with no interest. This would never. This doesn't happen. Wow. And I was like, fuck yeah. I called 6 of my best friends. I got a buddy that didn't know how to do sound. He was an actor, and literally we bought all the equipment. We loaded it up in my Airstream, loaded up the truck, and we went and lived in the dirt, and we shot the shit out of it. Shot half of it. All the hard stuff we shot. Came back, edited it within a week and a half. Gave it to them. They loved it. Gave us the rest. But that's unheard of. So people are like, how long did it take to shoot it? Well, it took 40 days to shoot it, but realistically, it's over the course of 3 months because I had to shoot it, half of the movie, edit it, present it, go back out there again. So very independent film,
And so, we're all, at AOL, we're all about original content and high distribution, so that's our bag. Does this experience, does it give you a different way to think about projects you're going to be working on in the future?
Yeah, I mean, there's some, it's really hard because you meet some really great people along the way and you meet some really bad people. And so you take those good people and you just bring them into your tribe and you just keep trying to collect. I mean, I don't have all those good people yet, but you just got to keep doing what you're doing. And you can see I'm a pretty honest guy and I wear my heart on my sleeve and I can kind of sense evil. And I'm pretty, agile. I can fuck with evil.
Yeah.
So I mean,
why are you looking at me like that, dude?
What's that?
Why are you looking at me like that? He's so fierce looking. For a lovable bear, he's so bloody fierce.
But it's tough, and the truth of it is, you just got to go out there and try to do really what's honest and true, and hopefully people back you for that. And I mean, it could be naive or cliche or whatever, but I mean, it's what I want to do. So
I mean, it's truly inspiring for us as content creators to see something done so well, in just as a passion play. It would be really remiss of me not to hand it over to the floor right now because I know you've got a bunch of fans here who'd love to ask questions. So can we take a few questions perhaps for our boy Jay? What's up? Anybody have a question?
my favorite beer is Guinness. My favorite color is pink. Good night!
Yeah!
I was joking.
Pink! We'd have known. Or what is salmon, perhaps?
Hi. So for this movie, you were the producer, the director, and actor, behind the scenes and on screen. How did you kind of change hats throughout that process? How did you view it from a production lens and then from an acting lens?
I saw it as just painter, really. It's just out of necessity. I didn't separate anything. I was like, I need this paint to clothe. I mean, I did all the wardrobe for everything. I'd save things. I knew the color schemes I wanted. I knew every location. And if we didn't know it, I would scout it and knew exactly what I wanted because it's in my head. And obviously me and Robert worked through the script a lot, and then obviously Brian and I would work out the logistics. But it really, when someone offers you an opportunity to make your movie, it's just out of necessity. It wasn't like the acting thing. We didn't make the role too hard for myself. It was the task of directing was the challenge. So most of the characters, bounce off of me, and they have more arcs. Mine's a real through line from A to B. He's going here to there. He may go off a little bit, but that's his direction. So it wasn't a stretch. What was a stretch is it's probably closest to me than anything I've ever done. And most people are like, they don't see that side. So, and then obviously putting this whole thing together was the challenge. So it is absolutely consuming. You will not sleep. Your family is going to miss you, and your friends will miss you. But if you're going to do your art, I hope you've built a good family around you. They'll back you up, and they believe in you. I couldn't have done anything at all without my wife and my children. It's hard as fuck, but it's completely rewarding. You know what I mean? There's nothing easy about it, but it's fucking fun, man.
A follow-up question on that before I go to Tao, which is how much of it was ad-libbed? Was it all script, or was it?
I think some of our greatest scenes were ad-libbed. It's great to. I'm a big fan. It's not so much as ad-libbing the dialogue. I think just in life in general, if you have a plan, but you can bend and you can sway, you're not going to break. And if you can, the fun thing that we do is we shoot in pockets of time and light where it's the best. So we do rehearse, but you see things, and if you can keep yourself nimble and practice to see things, that's what really helped me with acting. Is that you could just regurgitate the same thing, but it's not feeling right. You have to change it up a little bit. And so that really helped in directing, is that moments may come and you're like, we have to shoot it, and we have to switch right on a dime. And my actors were really great to do that. And those are our best scenes, I feel like, because they're the freest, and you caught the moment. You know what I mean? You grabbed that by the balls and we're like, you're mine. I'm not directing that at you. I'm sure.
Tao.
Jason, I feel like you have somewhat of a similar situation as AOL, where you're mostly right now known, I guess, for Game of Thrones, and that's only one season, and you're obviously trying to do bigger and better things, but there's a balance, and how do you balance the past and that role versus really what you're promoting today and moving forward with your projects?
Well, I feel like as a director, and I have a company called Pride of Gypsies, and with Pride of Gypsies, I only want to do things I want to do. It's really hard to get an acting job. Whoever's an actor in here, it's hard. There's no real solution. There's an amount of luck. You got to have talent, right place, right time. Like everything, just you got to work on your craft, but you got to be ready, and there's a lot of luck. So even though Game of Thrones did well, most people don't think I speak English. You know what I mean? Like, it hinders me, too. I had one of the greatest, I'm a huge fan of Saturday Night Live, huge fan. I met one of these Saturday Night Live actors, and he's like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, I fucking love you. And he's like, you speak English. And I'm like, oh man, what the fuck? I was like, you gotta be kidding me, bro. Like, you know, doing Stargate, there's some people that really love it, and people are like, Star who? Like, you were just, I was up, yeah, for 4 years. I was on a show, 22 episodes. It's like, I didn't just come out of the woodwork. I've been doing this for a while, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people are always like, oh, you're like Drogo. And I'm like, I really haven't, a lot of people don't know who I am yet, or what to really do with me.
Amen, man.
So I just went no to a lot of action things and went, I'm gonna go do my own thing.
Brilliant. Oh, we have another one here.
Hi, Jason. I don't speak English either, so it's all good.
What was that?
I don't speak English either, so. No, actually, I have a couple questions. First, do you have any brothers?
Do I have any what?
Do you have any brothers? Does he have any brothers? There's only one Jason.
Well, they are really like my brothers over there. But
No, my real question is, what was the first job you ever had, and how did that help you get to where you are now?
well, I don't know if it helped me get where I had to do, but I was a Planters peanut guy on the side of the road going like.
Were you really?
That's when I was like, man, this is fun as shit, man. I
That's
can
when
do
you're
whatever I want to in this Planters peanut outfit.
Well, that's a hell of a visual, by the way.
Not everything, but and then the acting began. You know, it was very random. This is where luck comes in. I ended up in Hawaii to get to know my father better. Took a break from college in Colorado, and that TV show came. I was folding T-shirts for $60 an hour. You could audition and be an extra on this TV show, get $100 an hour, walk in the sunshine with beautiful women. I was 19, folding shirts,
That's good.
walking around with beautiful naked women. $100. So I went out, and then I ended up getting the lead role, and then that kind of just changed everything. But then I fell in love with, you know, acting. I mean, I was a bit of just bullshit and had fun and, you know, jackass. But I mean, eventually you got to go in, and I moved to LA and, you know, had to get into acting classes and understand what the hell I was doing. So,
Amazing.
but
Any other questions? Oh, yeah. 10,000 questions. Awesome. Shoot.
Hi. So first things first, huge Game of Thrones fan, like kind of disgusting.
say highly disgusting.
No, it's like kind of disgusting how
Oh,
much
kind
I'm
of
obsessed
disgusting.
with Game of Thrones and Khal Drogo and just you in general. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, now that you have on your resume as writer, producer, actor, what's the next step for you? What's kind of your next ideal project?
My ideal project, the next one up. Someone asked me this earlier and I didn't finish. I'm sorry, but my company, Pride Gypsies, we've been going out to do commercials. I kind of want to work on that craft of directing, not in front of the camera, for a little while. So we were directing a piece for Carhartt, which is one of my favorite. I kind of grew up wearing these, and I wanted to go to Carhartt, and I pitched an idea, and we're doing a piece for them. So as far as directing, I'm doing that. Red Road, we're coming out in September. I'm going to shoot the second season, which I'm really stoked about. And then, really, for the movie we're going to do, this is such an amazing piece. I haven't spent a lot of time talking about it, so do we have a couple minutes? To say that?
Yeah,
maybe
we have
1
a
minute,
couple
30
minutes.
seconds or something like that.
Yeah, go for it, brother.
So in about 1890s, it's a true story. Jack London did a story on it. You have police documents from the newspapers, all kinds of things, and there's actually a story from. There's a biography about the woman, and what ends up happening is back in the 1890s, this man called Ko'olau and his wife Pi'ilani. Ko'olau was a farmhand, and he was a ranchman, and he ended up getting leprosy, and his son got leprosy. And back in the day, they used to take all the Hawaiians, and they used to ship them off to one side of the island, and they'd ship them over to Molokai. They'd drop them in the ocean, they'd make them swim in. And so there was an island on Molokai called Father Damien took care of the lepers. Well, this ranch hand, Ko'olau, they would not let them bring anyone that wasn't infected, so he was not allowed to bring his wife. He said no. They tried to force him. He shot the sheriff, and he shot others that tried to stop him from being with his. They ran up into the hills, and so did other lepers. At this time, martial law was coming into Hawaii, and they were overthrowing the king, the queen, and martial law was really trying to make a name for themselves. So you had a lot of sheriffs coming in, and they went up to go find this guy, and they hunted him. It was a manhunt. And they brought in a howitzer, they brought in the Waialeale, a boat, and they bombed the side of Kauai in the Kalalau Valley, and they bombed it, and they used a howitzer, and he defended himself against an army, and they literally hit up on those really sharp peaks, and he just wanted to die with his family. And it's a beautiful story about a man. This disease comes to his islands, infects his people, they're taking the land from him, and he just wants to die with his family. What ends up happening is he becomes a hero in Hawaii, because here he is defending this thing that's just wrong. And the army leaves because these men are dying for no point of reason. They're family men too, and it's just silly. They're hunting for one man. And so they leave. And he ends up staying up in the mountains, and the wife stays with him. And they bury their son, she buries him, and 3 years later she comes out of the forest after she's buried him, and there's a sprout that comes up, and she takes that seed and that sprout, and she brings it back home. And she writes the whole story in Hawaiian in about 1903, like that. And it's all in Hawaiian. It was translated by this lady. I don't want to mess this up, but 60s maybe. And it's a beautiful story. They have many poems about it. Like I said, Jack London did a story on it. It's never been told, and the whole thing's told from her point of view. And it's a poem. It's literally these breezes running through this life and this time. And it's very much a Braveheart or The Last Mohicans for me. So I want to make this Last Mohicans meets. If you've seen The Proposition, really, it's like those two movies for me. And it's, it's a soliloquy for my people that I want to tell. And but it's a drama historical piece. So they're not really knocking down the door with a little bit of action. So.
And with that, to actually see passion projects all the way through, we promised to take a tribe to go see the theatrical release on July 11th. We can't wait to see the extended pieces. Give it up for our brother and good friend, Jason Momoa.
Thank you.